approach Shirakawa-gō, you come through tunnels which are like a time travel tunnel, and I think the one we came through is malfunctioning because we've reached the village, but it's 2314 rather than 1500. So I can report on some of the things that are prevalent in architecture and lifestyle in 2314. As you can see, people like to climb onto their roofs using these ladders. Apparently the view is much better from up there and you can sunbathe. In 2314 the painter Beltis is revered. Even here in Japan his Swiss house is emulated. This is a garage in 2314, and as you'll notice, no car. Carpenters are of course extremely important citizens in this town in 2314. You may have seen The Man Who Fell to Earth, and the planet that Thomas Jerome Newton comes from in that film has these houses which are triangular shaped and they're on rails, and Japanese flute music by Tomita is always playing, as it is in this village. You can see the houses in this model are very similar to that Newton house. Bruno Taut, Swiss-German logical mind, he came here in 1935 and said that there was a very logical and reasonable construction style in these 60-degree roofed buildings, and this was very exceptional in Japan, and it also had telephony and electricity services, which was again unusual. So I guess he recognized a kind of Switzerland here in the Japanese Alps, and the effort to have a UNESCO recognition began with Taut. No more need for nuclear power. In 2314 they have perpetual motion. And this is the kind of high-tech toilet they have. No need for running water. All you need is a bit of privacy with this rush mat, and then you just do your business and it disappears. Again, screw induction heating and microwaves. This does the job. It's very unclear what is down and what is up when you're here. There isn't really a clear demarcation in 2314 between levels, but if you fall out of the window, it is quite clear. String, wood, straw, the force of gravity. One thing that has changed is sexual reproduction. It's no longer practiced. Instead, cloning happens via these small yellow and white eggs. These are young humans, the humans of the future. These are the shoe fashions of 2314, and as you can see they wear kind of moon boots woven of an amazing high-tech fabric of some kind. Looks very comfortable. Really cute rucksacks, 2,000 yen, very reasonable. There's a saying in 2314, a still mind is like quick flowing water. Depredation by feral pests, of course, has not vanished entirely. You can see these very fierce little bears attacking tree stumps here. But the most dangerous thing in 2314 is Midori mono, the green ectoplasmic-like living things which often accumulate up on the roof. These are actually robots used to comfort the old, and of course old in 2314 means extremely old. People live to about 600 years. One thing that's really changed its form is dogs. So this is a dog of the future, and they still have problems keeping cool in summer. As you can see, this has a constant supply of running water, and there's its kennel. Cats, once free to roam messily through the house, have now been integrated into the wall structures, much more tidy. Gods have been miniaturized so that they fit into a room in your house, a bit like their children's bedroom. Each of these flower heads contains a library. Man and wife are still very much active, but Scotland and Japan have merged. What could be more logical and self-sufficient and sustainable than growing your sweet corn right outside your bedroom window with some tadpoles to look after it? This little beauty is a 56K baud modem. Forget boats and catamarans and ships and things. This is a mineral-based water locomotion device. And this one is wood-based. This is an interesting example of the evolution of transport systems. Our useless cars have been turned into a much better form of transport, which I will now demonstrate. Ah yes, now that's much better than driving on a freeway. Another ingenious transportation solution is gravity-based telekinesis. It's a bit slow when your pants can't catch. You can see here a man dealing in straw. Straw has become the main commodity, replacing gold and precious metals. When your houses are made of straw, of course, it has to become the most valuable substance. I must say I'm quite proud of what we're achieving here, because it's really a thorough ethnography of the future. Here's another dog. I'm in two minds about what's been done to dogs, you know. This is the biggest rock band of 2314. They're called the Ambassadors. People do seem very much at ease in this inhospitable, almost Martian landscape. In so many instances I'm reminded of scenes from The Man Who Fell to Earth, and this of course is a bit like the very first scene where Thomas Jerome Newton is scrambling down a rocky hillside, and you can see that he's not used to the Earth's force of gravity. And again, this very much is Thomas Jerome Newton's house, minus the rails that it moves along. There are some things I'm not entirely clear the function of them, but this looks like a docking station for some sort of space shuttle. This is a sort of robot butler. Everywhere there's a kind of nostalgia for the time when humans worked before the robots did all the work. Of course, the robots don't work all the time either. Here's another butler idling in the garden. It's nice to see the rectangle hasn't lost its potency. These ones are lap dogs, poor things. Who needs a house party when you can have a roof party? These houses come in these tiny cardboard boxes, Ram House, 16 rolls in this box. These are postcards which are displayed on the temple walls, sent from temples on other planets, Mars, Venus, Saturn. For me, as an avid tea drinker, it's nice to know that the refreshing daily cuppa has not been left behind. Mixed media tin and straw. This is an extraordinary optical illusion with a rabbit dangling below it. They do still have some vandalism in the 24th century. This probably caused by a robot lawnmower. This is an ingenious new kind of refrigerator which I've never seen before. It seems to involve water and cucumbers. As for the deep freeze, you just need to come out here and grab some very fresh fish. You don't need a deep freeze. This, I'm told, is a children's play area, and as you can see, children play mostly with tomatoes. Who needs to look at a clock or a watch when you have audio time? This, I consider, truly remarkable. Birds have been mechanized entirely. There's been an amazing synergy between clothes and animation. So these are animated clothes. This is the music of 2314 produced by these cryogenically frozen musicians. The Japanese Prime Minister Wada-san has been arraigned on criminal charges relating to misplacing of a golden egg. 2,000 families have been housed in this miniature apartment block. Quite a technical feat. I like the idea that carpets, which in our time are used only on floors, should actually cover rocks, or in this case dogs. While I'm ambivalent about what's been done to dogs, I do think it's a real shame what's happened to horses. This is also a house. This is a garden on stilts. I'm actually not sure what this is. Each of these contains a VHS cassette tape. A couple more quite important things that I just learned. All the countries in the world look like Switzerland in 2314, and all men look like Dr. Johnson. They no longer use money in the 24th century, but they do use banks, and this is one of them. It's a river bank. Plants have become sentient beings, so they're very hypersensitive. I'm told that the most, in fact the only cultural figures known in the 24th century from the West in the 20th century are the writer Henry Miller and the singer Engelbert Humperdinck. You've probably heard of string theory. Well, it works, it holds up houses. I know there'll be font fiends amongst you and type hounds who want to know what are the fonts in the 24th century which are buzzy and current and edgy. This one, it's actually called heartily, and heartily is a word which is spoken a lot by hearty people in the 24th century. Blacktop on a 4-lane highway. For industrial design freaks amongst you, furniture designers for instance, here's an interesting combination of what we would think of as a modern, even 70s swivel base and a very traditional chair top. Anti-gravity water, replicant ducks, a dog in festive mode, a dangerous earthworm. 24th century living at its finest. I think if there's one thing I've learned from this trip to the 24th century, it's that the future is a great place to wear marimekko. Well, we arrived back in Kanazawa, but I'm not sure if we're in the 21st century or the 24th because, look, digital water.